Media training tips. What are very specific, easy things you can do to come across better in the media for your next interview? For starters, just lean forward about 15 degrees into the camera if you're doing anything on video. What a lot of people do is they try to have perfect posture and they hold themselves straight up, and it makes them look stiff and scared and nervous. You want to lean forward about 15 degrees. It will make your head the focus. It tends to make everyone look slimmer and better. Now, it's not technically perfect posture. Looking at me from the side, this doesn't look like good posture. But for a video or a TV interview, or any time you're in front of a camera, leaning forward about 15 degrees is the number one tip to help make you look better on video. Media training tips for executives. Many executives are so busy. They've got division heads, assistants pulling on them here and there, and they think of themselves already as good communicator. Hey, I'm the CEO, or I'm this top senior vice president because my communication skills are better than most people's. Therefore, I can wing the interview. I don't have to practice. I don't have to rehearse. I'm too senior. I have too much stature to do training. Training, that's for juniors. That's not the mentality you want. Smart executives realize that when they communicate, and they communicate to the media, that is the most important thing they do in their job, because that has an impact on how investors see them, suppliers, their own employees, their customers, the public, regulators. So how well you come across in the media as an executive is critical. So the number one tip for executives is you've got to spend time doing a videotaped rehearsal if it's an important interview. Even if it's a minor interview or something that seems minor, you still need to do a rehearsal, even if it is a colleague or a PR assistant calling you over the phone, doing a sample interview with you on your phone while you're driving to a TV station or radio station. Certainly if you're doing this from home, doing an actual Skype video or Zoom video rehearsal with your in-house PR counsel or outside PR counsel, or with a media trainer like me, is going to help a great deal. Because when you get it wrong as an executive, it's not just about you, it's not your ego. You potentially harm the whole organization. On the other hand, when you do great interviews consistently, you build your brand, build your reputation, that everything helps as it fuels that. Think of someone like Richard Branson and the Virgin Companies. He does so many media appearances, and he always has a smile on his face. It's not that he's perfect. He has lots of uhs and ums come out. But he shares his enthusiasm for his latest project, and he's interesting, and he tries to have fun. That is the essence of good media skills for executives. What are media training tips for trainers? Well, if you are a trainer and you're teaching people how to speak to the media, you better be good yourself. One thing I do in every training is I do a quick demonstration, not long. I want the focus, the spotlight, to be on the client, the person I'm training. But if someone asks a question of, what's the best way to do Facebook Live or do a quick YouTube video, I don't talk about it. I'll actually do it. I'll open up my phone, go to Facebook Live, and I'll do a 60-second Facebook Live video where I am walking the talk. I look comfortable. I speak in a confident way. I communicate a point. So if you're going to be a media trainer, you need to do that. My other big tip for media trainers, it's the number one blunder most media trainers make. They talk too much. Now, I have to talk in these videos because I can't talk to you right now. But if you're in a live training situation, the number one thing you need to do to help an executive, an athlete, an author, or anyone you're training is you need to get them speaking on camera more, watching themselves, critiquing themselves, and doing it again and again. I have found in the 30 plus years that I've been doing media training, the longer I do this, the less I actually say in a day of live training, the more the trainee says, and the better the results. So you have to fight your instinct to want to pick apart and tell someone 50 different things they did right and wrong about every single little interview. Because if you do that, the interview will take 2 minutes and you'll take 2 hours or 3 hours critiquing that one interview, and then there's no more time to really make progress. The most important thing, the biggest lesson I've learned in training tens of thousands of people all over the globe in person and more than 1 million people online, is that where people get the most value from media training is when they can look at a video of themselves having gone through a tough interview, and they could say, yes, that's exactly how I want to look, that's how I want to sound, that's my message. Doesn't matter where the interview is sliced, diced, or edited, I'm happy with the results. If you as a trainer can create that result, you will be a success. The training session will be a success, and your client will love you. Media training for athletes. Athletes from a very young age are put in a position where they have tremendous access to the media. After a game, you win, you lose, reporters will want to talk to you. I mean, this happens even in middle school in some places. There's tremendous interest in the culture around the world in sports and athletics. So as an athlete, you have a chance to communicate a lot. What you don't want to do as an athlete is just say the normal, boring cliches. Oh, we played real hard and the other team showed up and coach said we give them, people have heard that 1,000 times. What you need to do is to think about, how can you say something interesting after a game? Show some insight. Give a little bit of color. Create an image in people's minds to get them to think about how you played the game, whether it's after the game, before the game, what you want them to think about. Because here's the thing that most athletes don't realize, especially when they're in high school or college. The big money in sports is from speaking, not doing the thing. Tiger Woods makes so much more money as an endorser when he appears in commercials than he does actual prize winnings. You look at the people, whether it's football, soccer, other sports, it's the athletes who develop the reputation of being articulate. They can go on to careers as announcers, as talk show hosts, as play-by-play people, as on-air reporters and analysts. Their careers can go 50 years sometimes, and they can make more and more and more money every year. You don't want to be one of these athletes who made a ton of money and then your whole career was over at age 25, and now you're emptying a truck for minimum wage for the rest of your life. You don't want to do that. So that's why media training is so important for athletes, because it can help you in so many aspects of your career. And certainly if you get to the elite level of any sport, part of what the big bucks you're receiving go towards is your ability to market that team by being available for interviews. So many professional sport leagues these days have it as a requirement that whether it's after the tennis match, after the football game, you have to make yourself available to the media. You're going to do it anyway. Why not be great at it? Why not build your own brand, your own reputation? Doesn't matter if you want to start an insurance company after your playing days are over, or if you want to be a play-by-play commentator for a major network. Being interesting, confident, engaging every single time a reporter sticks a microphone in your mouth can only help your career. That's why media training is so important for athletes. Media training tips for radio. A lot of people take radio for granted. TV scares people, so they're more inclined to get media training for that. And if there is a text interview with a major publication like the New York Times, that can be scary, so people might prepare for that more. But radio seems casual, and it seems easier somehow. Well, here's the thing. You still have an opportunity to make a great impression, a horrible impression, no impression, and a great impression and communicate your message. So the challenges are the same. Now, it's true, you don't have to worry about how you sit or move your hands if it's a radio interview. You don't have to worry about makeup. But you still need to focus on having an interesting message. Now, here's a quick tip about radio. Let's say you're on a 1 hour long public affairs show on a talk radio station. You may think, oh, wonderful, it's an hour long. I have all this time. I'll wait till the end to pitch my latest book or my campaign. No. An hour seems like a lot of time, but in radio, especially commercial talk radio, it isn't. Because the average audience member typically only listens for about 15 minutes. If they're in their car, they get out of their car. They're in the parking lot of the grocery store. They're not going to sit there to listen to you. If they're at home listening, they'll walk into another room. They don't hear it after a while. So there's only about a 15-minute window. Out of that 15 minutes, you got sometimes the top of the hour, the news, the weather, the sports, commercial break, questions from the anchor or the host. You might only have 2 minutes to speak in that 15 minutes, and that's all someone hears from you. So that's why it is, again, critically important that you narrow your focus, you narrow your messages down to just 3. That's the most important tip when it comes to appearing on radio. Media training tips for television. Television is obviously a visual medium, so you need to take that into consideration. I could have the greatest message ever, deliver the most wonderful insights ever, but if I'm looking like this the whole time you're watching this video, you're not going to take away any of these great messages. You're going to say, why is that scared guy reading notes off the floor? It's a little thing like the eye contact makes such an importance. And these days, if you're being interviewed on Zoom, for example, or Skype, there's the tendency to want to look at the person who's asking you the question. Well, look what happens if I'm constantly looking down or over. I'm literally shifty-eyed. We've been taught in virtually every culture in the world not to trust someone who's shifty-eyed. So when it comes to television, you have to pay close attention to things like, if there's no reporter around, looking right at the camera. If there is a reporter around and you're being interviewed by someone on set, just look at that person. It will look fine. Also, you need a slight smile on your face, because most of us, when we are listening to someone talk, listening to someone ask us a question, we do this. How does that look? Probably looks like I'm scared, nervous, bored. You need a little bit of a smile on your face. And the final thing is you need to move. When human beings are comfortable and confident and they're in conversation, your head moves, your body moves, your face moves, your hands move. The first thing nervous people do when they're being interviewed on TV is they freeze their body. So you've got to tell yourself when you're nervous, keep moving your hands, keep moving your body, keep moving your head. That is the most important tip when it comes to media training for television. Body language media training tips. Now, if a reporter is interviewing you in person, even if it's a print reporter, your body language is important, especially if you are a high-ranking CEO or a politician and the reporter is an investigative journalist and they're trying to dig at some controversy. You may have a good message, but if your body language is defensive, closed arm, looking down, scowling, you're going to send a message to the reporter, hey, I'm guilty, I'm hiding something here. This is true even if there's no TV camera present. If they're just sitting across from you, sitting next to you at a table or at a restaurant. So you want to look comfortable and confident and relaxed anytime you are talking to a reporter. Now, for most people, the tension-filled part of this is body language when you're on television, because it's human nature to be nervous. And when we're nervous, at some level, we're all like little bunny rabbits. You ever go out for a walk and you spot a bunny rabbit and it does this? It figures if it doesn't move, you won't see it and you won't kill it and eat it. At some level, as human beings, we're still wired that way. We might not rationally think of it in those terms, but that's what's happening. I've seen the body language of thousands and thousands of executives all over the world freeze up as soon as I put that camera and light on them. That's why it's critically important that you are aware of your body language and you know exactly how you're coming across. So you need to rehearse your body language before any interview if a reporter can see you, whether it's television or just a newspaper reporter showing up at your office. You need to rehearse on video. I would recommend you just use your cell phone and record video or a webcam, camcorder. It doesn't matter the technology. What matters is you can see how you're coming across. Now, here's the big blunder most people make. If they're doing a pretty good job with their body language, their hands are moving. What happens is people see their hands moving and they think, oh my God, I look like an idiot moving my hands. That's not professional. I better hold my hands down. And they hold their hands down, they freeze their hands, they freeze their body, they freeze their head, their vocal cords. The next thing you know, they sound like they are in a hostage video. You don't want to do that. You want movement. Hands, arms, body, face, eyebrows. That's what will make you come across. That's what will give you strong body language for all of your media interviews. That's really the most important media training tip for body language. The most important media training tip for phone interviews: cheat. What do I mean by cheating? I mean, stare at your message points. Stare at your sound bites. Have it on a single sheet of paper. And apologies if this sounds like I'm anti-environmentalist. I'm not. But a sheet of paper is far better than a computer screen. You got your computer screen open. It's too easy for notifications to pop up, for you to quickly check email if the reporter has to put you on hold for a second. There's too many distractions. Your computer could need a reboot or a virus hit it. You accidentally unplug it, power outage. The beauty of paper is it doesn't ask for electricity, doesn't have any virus or compatibility issues, and it allows you to focus. That is the number one media training tip you need to follow for phone interviews. Have your notes. Now, not a whole paragraph. You don't want to be reading paragraphs. A message point is something you should be able to say in 10 words or less. Sound bites should just be 1 or 2 sentences. So you glance down at it, but you're not reading long sentences or paragraphs. That's really the most important media training tip for phone interviews.